Vaccine option for adolescents, the company that's seeking FDA approval right now.
A local organization working to make a difference in the lives of the men and women who serve, how they help support our nation's heroes who struggle with mental health issues.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
A suspicious fire. That's what the San Antonio fire chief is calling a massive apartment fire on the northeast side that destroyed 12 apartment units.
Now nearly 20 residents at that apartment complex are left looking for a place to go. Tiffany Huerta spoke with a resident who describes that horrifying scene.
My roommate said the place on fire.
Army veteran Derek Oates describes the scary scene from this morning. He was inside his apartment when a fire broke out in his building.
I grabbed my pants and my shirt and put my shoes.
Firefighters arrived to this apartment complex on Harry Warsbach Road near Rittiman Road around 4 this morning. Flames were shooting through the roof of this building, causing part of it to collapse. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood says 40 fire units arrived to the scene.
It's still unclear what started this fire. Chief Hood says they believe the fire started on the second floor of this apartment building.
We do have a person in custody right now, is being questioned by arson.
Hood says no one was injured.
Only thing I can say is thank God for Jesus and I'm still alive.
The Red Cross is helping families displaced by the fire. Reporting from the northeast side, Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
San Antonio police looking for tips as they try to solve two different open cases.
First one, a deadly attack at Brackenridge Park. According to police, back on April 25th, they found 65-year-old Juan Apolinar Jr. seated at a picnic table with serious injuries. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Officers think that he was attacked, and while there were several people at the park at the time attending parties and gatherings, police found no one who's a witness.
And police want to find this person. Officers say on May 12th, he walked into a smoke shop in the 6800 block of San Pedro. That's near Jackson Keller Road. Police accuse the suspect of pointing a gun at a store employee, demanding cash. The store clerk handed over the money, and then the suspect rode off on a bicycle. If you can help police with either of these two cases, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
Later on this afternoon, Governor Greg Abbott addressing border security, and he's going to be doing so at a summit that he's hosting in Del Rio. The summit will include Texas sheriffs, police chiefs, county judges, mayors, and landowners. They're going to all hear from state officials as they outline what Texas is doing to secure the border. Officials will also talk about collaborative strategies on border security. We'll have more on the summit tonight at 5 and 6.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. A CDC advisory panel meeting today about vaccinated teens and reports of heart inflammation.
Meantime, the push to vaccinate continues. As ABC's Rena Roy explains, there's growing concern over variants spreading across our country.
An FDA advisory panel is working to figure out if there's a link between mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, and potential heart problems in teens, with a higher than expected number of cases of myocarditis and pericarditis, which can cause inflammation of the heart muscle and outer lining of the heart.
Risk-benefit considerations to determine whether to issue an emergency use authorization for use of COVID-19 vaccine to healthy pediatric individuals will need to account for this information.
But officials say reports are rare and that most patients responded well to medication and rest and quickly felt better. This as the race to vaccinate continues. Over the last week, COVID-19 hospitalization rates more than double in counties with low rates of fully vaccinated people compared to those with the highest full vaccination rates.
There are variants out there like the Delta variant that are very dangerous. Now's the time to get a shot in your arm.
Mississippi is dead last when it comes to vaccinations. Just 27.5% of the total population is fully vaccinated. The CDC director encouraging primary care doctors to help lead the charge with vaccinations in an interview with WebMD.
Physicians have a really important, really active, and I hope proactive role in understanding who their patients are, what might be their reason for not wanting to be vaccinated.
And while travel restrictions are easing up and cruises here in the U.S. prepare to set sail once again, many questions and concerns now coming up, with 2 passengers testing positive for COVID-19 on a Swiss cruise ship that does not require vaccinations. Some American cruise liners say they won't require proof of vaccination either, but others aren't taking any chances. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And we are waiting to hear from President Joe Biden later on in the show. He's going to be delivering live remarks on the COVID-19 vaccination program and the global effort to defeat the virus.
Moderna now asking the Food and Drug Administration for emergency use authorization of its vaccine for 12 to 17-year-olds. That company reported last month that a trial of more than 3,700 people in that age group showed none of the participants who received the vaccine contracted COVID-19 starting 2 weeks after their second dose. The FDA approved Pfizer's request for the shot in the same age group last month. Moderna's vaccine is similar to Pfizer's in that, again, they both use that mRNA to build immunity in the virus, and their efficacy rates are nearly identical. Moderna has also asked regulators in Canada and Europe to approve its vaccine for that same age bracket. HEB has a new mask policy. It's now going to allow partners, vendors, and customers to walk the aisles without a mask. The policy change, making face coverings optional, went into effect on Wednesday, according to HEB. The company issued a statement on the policy change, reading it had to say right now. Read what it had to say right now on KSAT.com.
The COVID-19 pandemic led to another pandemic among our veterans. As the world shut down last year, so did the number of resources. Nonprofit organizations like Inspire Up reported a spike in the number of veteran suicides. But as Stephen Cavazos explains, organizations came together to make a difference in the lives of the heroes who served to protect ours.
These veterans, and some of them active, who were already struggling, and then you suddenly put them in isolation. They can't go to groups. They can't see their counselors in person.
Jessica Manfrey says COVID-19 led to a domino effect that had negative impacts for our nation's heroes who struggle with mental health. Manfrey is part of the Inspire Up Foundation, a nonprofit organization which aims to serve military and first responder families. And that's exactly what happened here at the Green Beret Foundation. 500 boxes were filled with books, gratitude journals, coffee, all to let our veterans and active duty military know they're not alone.
I hope that when the airmen receive this, they recognize that they have a family.
It all went toward Air Force Wounded Warriors. Their mission is to help service members transition back into civilian life, which can be difficult. Last year, 5 suicides were reported. That's a small number compared to 2019. But Candice Escobedo with AFW2 says it's a heartbreaking reality.
The people in our program, people are sick, people are ill, and they do die. So it's hard on everybody.
She believes generosity like this can go a long way in making a difference in the lives of the men and women who serve to protect ours.
Here's a physical, tangible thing that we can send you, to get you to maybe possibly open up and talk to us.
Stephen Cavazos, KSAT 12 News.
And happening right now, a job fair in Schertz. Schertz, Cibolo, Universal City ISD, looking to fill several positions. The district wants to hire bus drivers, bus monitors, child nutrition service workers, custodians, and grounds crew employees. The job fair is happening in the boardroom of the William Malish Building. That's at 1060 Elbelt Road in Schertz. It ends at 5 this evening. If you do not have to register to attend, and on-site interviews will be conducted. Still to come this.
And coming up, we'll talk about the weekend forecast plus some rain chances that kick back in next week.
Hey, the NCAA softball tournament came close to seeing a huge upset. Larry Ramirez has that highlight coming up in just a few minutes in sports.
A good song can bring up some happy memories, and now new research says it may even help you sleep better. We'll explain after the break. Wouldn't you like to sleep better? ABC's Faith Abube tells us relaxing music may improve how well you sleep, especially if you're an older adult.
Poor sleep can be a problem for many older adults. Common complaints include inability to fall asleep, also known as insomnia, and inability to sleep through the night. Result in being tired. It can negatively affect other parts of your life too, such as how clear you think, your physical activity, and your emotions. But some good news. A new study shows that listening to calming music at night may improve sleep quality in adults 60 and older. Soothing music has been shown to slow down the body's rhythm and help people relax. With most Americans carrying around a smartphone, relaxing music is just a click away, making it much more accessible than other sleeping aids like prescriptions or over-the-counter medications. The study also found that people who routinely listen to calming music at night get an even greater benefit than people who only listened occasionally. So the next time you go to sleep, throw on some soothing tunes and make a habit out of it. You might just find you get better sleep. With this Medical Minute, I'm Faith Abube, ABC News.
So soothing tunes helps you sleep. What about an afternoon nap when the humidity is real high?
Turn up the AC room.
Can you sleep in that?
That does sound kind of nice, actually, now that you bring it up.
Yeah, there you go.
Indoors is the place to be right now. Temperature's already in the upper 80s. It feels warmer than that. Humidity level's down a little bit today, but still we're going to deal with a heat index that's going to be up there around 100. Aquifer is down, so we're starting the move towards falling numbers here with the aquifer down to 670.8. In your pollen count, everything looks good here. Molds, pigweed, grass, all there, but they're all low. We do have some hope for some rain back in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up.
Never miss a story. Watch live or when you want. San Antonio's latest news and weather, streaming free on KSAT TV.
So in other words, if you're going to take a nap, you want to be inside with the AC, not outside in like a hammock or something. Is that what I gather?
I would prefer the AC. And if you don't have an AC, at least turn your fan on. You know,
something.
It's just muggy.
It is muggy. You know, the good news, temperatures aren't as bad as they could be. You know, we've had records up around 100 this time of year, so at least we're staying in the low 90s. But yes, the humidity makes it feel so much worse. Drought monitor is in, and it still looks great for us. I will point out, though, that the western half of the country is in a lot of trouble here. There's quite a bit of drought stretching from Las Vegas to Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, down to Phoenix. Obviously areas that are typically dry, but even drier than normal. And they're going to continue to stay fairly dry with the forecast going forward. For us, though, it's the rainfall has been plentiful over the last 30 days or so, and we're basically out of a drought. There's very little of it here, maybe a few areas that are dry there right along the Rio Grande, but otherwise our area is sitting pretty. Last week, 25% of the state was in drought. This week, 19%, and it's just far west Texas that is dealing with drought at this point. So the rains did a lot for us. And looking at the Medina Lake levels, 36% full. Medina Lake really hasn't responded all that much to this rain. It's only up 0.3 of a foot, but at least it's kind of holding steady instead of falling. Outside, blue sky is starting to shine their show through here. 84 degrees at the airport. Partly cloudy skies. Humidity is at 69%. We've got a southerly wind at about 9 miles per hour. There's like the satellite picture. Clouds still here over Bexar County. You go north, though, Kerrville, seeing sunny skies, and I think we're going to see a lot of sun this afternoon, more so than yesterday. 85 Seguin, 88 Stinson, 88 Pleasanton. You're at 85 at Hondo, 82 in Uvalde. And still a nice little cloud deck right around Del Rio, but that's quickly going away too. So you're going to see sun out there as well. And the dew points, they're in the low 70s. This is a little bit of an improvement, not much, but we're shaving a couple of degrees here off the dew point. It helps. Every little bit helps at this point. And you look at the 24-hour dew point change, everybody's down at least a little bit. Hopefully this trend continues. You see the dew points come down even more so, and the heat index values won't be as bad. Right now, it feels like 90 here in town, 99 in Gonzales, feels like 100 in Kennedy, 97 in Pleasanton. And as we look at the state, it's not just us. The entire state of Texas is dealing with the heat and humidity. Heat index values forecast to be up above 100 in places like Abilene, even out towards Midland, places like Del Rio. And there are heat advisories, these areas shaded in orange for parts of Texas. So this is a widespread heat event here across the state. No rain to speak of. You got to go out to Mississippi before you find any rain. And that's because we have our ridge high pressure over us. With the water vapor, you can kind of see the the flow here in the atmosphere, and that's going to keep things quiet for at least through the weekend. As we get into next week, that's when it does change a little bit. That ridge moves far enough west and actually northwest to where it opens up the door for some showers and storms, as we've been talking about this week. I think by Monday evening, we'll watch for some isolated stuff, and then Tuesday, maybe a little better chance Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. So something to look forward to. In the meantime, 92 degrees today, partly cloudy skies this afternoon. And the extended forecast will go 93 tomorrow, 93 Saturday, 94 Sunday, and then maybe a little cooler with some rain chances back in the forecast next week, guys.
All right, Justin, thank you.
So here's the good news out of Cowboys minicamp. Dak Prescott feeling pretty good.
He is feeling pretty good, and he dates it back to Cinco de Mayo when he says that he really put this injury behind him. And that is, of course, key for the Dallas Cowboys. Coming up, Dak Prescott is talking about coming back from that injury. And as David said, he is feeling good. And do the Texans plan to use Tyrod Taylor to boost their running attack? Coming up.
Yeah, I'd honestly say about a month ago, somewhere around Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, had a good Cinco de Mayo, was a little active, and at that time maybe did some little dance moves, and I felt like I'm ready to go. So that was the time that I said in my head, the injury's gone. So
Cinco de Mayo was a good one for Dak Prescott in Big Board Sports.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott says he's over the ankle injury he suffered last season in Week 5 against the Giants. He put the injury behind him, as you heard, on Cinco de Mayo. Still, he had to build up his confidence on the field, and ever since the Cowboys started off-season workouts, that's exactly been one of his top goals.
I'm sure you guys seen the scramble drill that we've done a few times, so that was a big one for my confidence, is being able to pivot and turn out left, get out of there right, change directions, not feel anything, and then look at the tape and realize day by day that I'm running more smoother, I'm getting better, I'm using my leg more as I throw, and those are just all building blocks and stepping stones for me to get to where I want to be, and it's just exciting.
Cowboys rookie linebacker Micah Parsons says he's learning multiple new positions, playing all three linebacker spots. New defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is even experimenting with him at defensive end. He wants to use the rookie's skill set in his DPR position, designated pass rusher, in addition to his linebacking duties. So what does Parsons like about rushing the quarterback?
Just creating havoc, creating disruption, being able to create that excitement, momentum change, a chance to get the ball out and get it back to our explosive offense. So that's kind of what I like about pass rushing.
How about this? Houston Texans head coach David Coley announced they will not have a mandatory minicamp next week because attendance was great during OTAs and they accomplished what they wanted to. That means quarterback Deshaun Watson cannot be fined for missing camp. In the meantime, Tyrod Taylor, Jeff Driscoll, and rookie Davis Mills are all working hard to learn the Texans playbook. Just like Watson, Taylor can beat you in the air and on the ground. He has nearly 10,000 career yards passing, with 1,850 more on the ground. Offensive coordinator Tim Kelly was asked about Taylor boosting the running game.
Nothing's really changed as far as that, Aaron, as far as being able to figure out different ways to take advantage of those guys' skill sets. So all three of the quarterbacks that we have in the room right now are capable athletes and are able to not only hurt the defense with their arm, but with their legs too. So we're going to continue to look to stress defenses any way we can. And you know, again, all three of their skill sets kind of offer us the ability to do so.
Denver Broncos safety and former Houston Texan Kareem Jackson says he's been talking with Watson the last couple weeks, and that Watson says he wants to join the Broncos. Women's College World Series Game 2 yesterday between Florida State and Oklahoma. Top 6 Sooners Jocelyn Alo-Smucks a 2-run homer to right center field, putting the Sooners on top for good, 3-2. And number 1 Oklahoma tops, and number 10 Florida State 6-3, tying the series at 1-1. Decisive Game 3 is this afternoon.
Back to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons looked pretty quick. Was that just my eyes, or does he look that quick?
He's quick
out there.
He's athletic. He's very skilled, yes.
Man, that's good. We like that. Thanks, Larry.
California in crisis as Hoover Dam's Lake Mead reaches its lowest level in a decade. What the federal government is doing to address this issue.
And a cutting-edge blood test could detect cancer recurrence earlier than ever before. How it works, coming up in the next half hour.
And today at 5, we're going to head out to the swimming pools and lakes this summer. There are concerns about the pandemic gap. Kids did not get to take swim lessons last year, and they could be lacking life-saving skills. drowning the #1 cause of accidental death among children younger than 5. So, coming up today at 5, 12 on your side takes a look at how to help keep your kids' water safe. We've been on standby for President Joe Biden in England. He is making some remarks.
At a very productive meeting, we discharged and discussed a broad range of issues on which the United Kingdom and the United States are working in very close cooperation. We affirmed the special relationship, as is not said lightly, the special relationship between our people, and we renewed our commitment to defending the enduring democratic values that both our nations share, that are the strong foundation of our partnership. 80 years ago, Prime Minister Winston Churchill and President Franklin Roosevelt signed an agreement known as the Atlantic Charter. It was a statement of first principles, a promise that the United Kingdom and the United States would meet the challenges of their age and they would meet it together. Today, we build on that commitment with a revitalized Atlantic Charter, updated to reaffirm that promise while speaking directly to the key challenges of this century: cybersecurity, emerging technologies, global health, and climate change. We discussed our common goals for driving ambitious global action to address the climate crisis. And the Climate Leaders Summit that I hosted in April was in part about helping drive forward the momentum toward the critical COP26 that the UK will host in Glasgow later this year. We talked about the shared sacrifices our service members have made, bravely serving side by side in Afghanistan for close to 20 years. The UK was with us from the start, as they always are, equally committed to rooting out the terrorist threat. And now we're coordinating our withdrawal together. And of course, we talked about how our two nations can together lead the global fight against COVID-19. That's been a major focus of the G7 under British leadership, particularly in focusing and coordinating our resources to help vaccinate the world. And tonight, I'm making an historic announcement regarding America's leadership in the fight against COVID-19. America knows firsthand the tragedies of this pandemic. We've had more people die in the United States than anywhere in the world. Nearly 600,000 of our fellow Americans, moms, dads, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, grandparents, more deaths from COVID-19 in the United States than from World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and 9/11 combined. We know the tragedy. We also know the path to recovery. The United States has now vaccinated 64% of our adults with at least one shot. Just 4.5 months ago, we were at only 5% with one shot. It took a Herculean effort on the part of our government to manage one of the biggest and I would say most complicated logistical challenges in our history. It took the ingenuity of scientists, building on decades of research to develop a vaccine. It took the full capacity of American companies manufacturing and delivering the vaccines around the clock. And as a result, we have the lowest number of daily deaths since the first day of this pandemic. Our economy is rebounding. Our vaccination program has already saved tens of thousands of lives, with that count growing each day, and has allowed millions of Americans get back to living their lives. And from the beginning of my presidency, we've been clear-eyed that we need to attack this virus globally as well. This is about our responsibility, our humanitarian obligation to save as many lives as we can, and our responsibility to our values. We value the inherent dignity of all people. In times of trouble, Americans reach out to offer help and offer a helping hand. That's who we are. And when we see people hurting and suffering anywhere around the world, we seek to help as best we can. That's why under both Republican and Democratic presidents, the United States has made transformative commitments to bolster global health. Commitments under President Bush like PEPFAR, which changed the global fight against HIV/AIDS. And in this moment, our values call on us to do everything that we can to vaccinate the world against COVID-19. It's also in America's self-interest. As long as the virus rages elsewhere, there is a risk of new mutations that could threaten our people. We know that raging COVID-19 in other countries holds back global growth, raises instability, and weakens governments. And as we've seen in the United States, with evidence clear day by day, the key to reopening and growing economies is to vaccinate your people. Our vaccination program has helped the American economy begin to recover from the worst economic crisis in a century. Over 2 million new jobs created just in the last 4 months since I've become president. An historic decline in long-term unemployment. Businesses reopening, and a projected economic growth of 6.9%, the fastest in nearly 4 decades in America. Just as the American economy is recovering, it is in all of our interest to have the global economy begin to recover as well. And that won't happen unless we can get this pandemic under control worldwide. That's why, as I said in my address to the joint session of Congress in April, America will be the arsenal of vaccines in our fight against COVID-19, just as America was the arsenal of democracy during World War II. Over the past 4 months, we've taken a number of steps toward this historic effort. We have contributed more than any nation to COVAX, a collective global effort that is delivering COVID-19 vaccines across the world. We've supported manufacturing efforts abroad through our partnerships with Japan, India, and Australia, known as the Quad. We've shared doses with our neighbors, Canada and Mexico. And in addition, 3 weeks ago, with America's vaccines supplied secured, and with confidence we have enough vaccines to cover every American who wants one, we announced that we would donate 80 million doses of our own vaccine in-house now to supply the world by the end of June. Many of these doses are shipping to countries around the world as we speak. And today, we're taking a major step that will supercharge the global fight against this pandemic. In my direction, the United States will purchase an additional 500 million doses from Pfizer vaccine, that will donate nearly 100 low and lower middle income countries. They will be the beneficiaries. Let me say that again. The United States will purchase 500 million doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to donate to nearly 100 nations that are in dire need in the fight against this pandemic. That's a historic step. The largest single purchase and donation of COVID-19 vaccines by any single country ever. Importantly, this is the mRNA vaccine, which has proven to be extremely effective against COVID-19 and every known variant of that virus thus far.
You've been listening to President Joe Biden on his address. He is in Europe right now, Great Britain, and he's talking about how America is going to step up and help the world with vaccinations.
Yeah, he's saying that the United States is going to be the arsenal of vaccines worldwide, aside from joining COVAX and a couple of other organizations to kind of coordinate worldwide distribution of the vaccine. He's saying that the United States is right now poised to be make the largest donation of vaccines all across the world in history.
They are prepared to buy 500 million doses from Pfizer and then spread them across 100 countries around the world, see if they can get this pandemic under control around the world with the help from the U.S.
Yeah, he announced a couple of weeks ago 80 million doses were going to be donated by the end of June. This is 500 million Pfizer vaccines now that he's talking about that are going to be going to those countries that do not have the economies that can support a massive vaccine distribution.
Of course, we'll have all this information for you on our website, KSAT.com, and much more on his speech coming up later on KSAT 12 News at 5 and again at 6. In the meantime, coming up in this half hour, Tom Brady talking about the off-season knee surgery he had and if it's going to affect the upcoming season. Larry Mears has that for you in sports.
Now to a potential breakthrough in detecting cancer. There's a new test that could catch a tumor recurrence as early as 2 years before it shows up on a scan. It's being called a rapid game changer in cancer management. A personalized tumor-informed blood test called Signatera works by detecting ctDNA in the blood. The test works by looking at more than 20,000 genes in the patient's tumor and then comparing it to normal genes. Once a unique fingerprint of that tumor is identified, a personalized blood test is created that is unique to that person's cancer.
What makes the tumor DNA different is that it has certain mutations that actually led to the uncontrolled cell growth that became the cancer. And by virtue of analyzing a sample of the tumor from the patient, we actually know what the mutations are in that cancer, and we know exactly what we're looking for when we go analyzing the blood sample.
There are some limitations. Signatera only works for solid cancers, including lung, colon, bladder, and breast cancers.
Officials are urging people to conserve water, especially across the West, as Lake Mead reaches an historically low level. ABC's Matt Gutman is at Hoover Dam in Nevada with those details.
Today, the federal government announcing that Lake Mead is at its lowest level in the history of the lake since it was created by damming the Colorado River with the Hoover Dam behind me. Now, the lake, we're told, is at about 37% capacity, and as you're in and around the lake, you can see those bathtub rings. You can see those beached and high and dry docks that have been there basically for a number of years at this point. Now, to remedy this, the federal government says we need to focus on conservation, but they are also very likely to declare a water shortage along the lower Colorado River. That triggers automatic water reduction in Nevada and in Arizona, but we're told the impact of these mitigation efforts won't begin to be felt until November, and until then, the levels here at Lake Mead will continue to decrease. Matt Gutman, ABC News at the Hoover Dam, Nevada.
Pools are open, rivers are open, lakes are open, and so is the beach, maybe?
Yeah, the beach. In fact, tonight at 5, we're going to be having a story about how to get your kids ready to hit the water or not hit the water, keep them safe, because no one went swimming last summer.
Yeah, it's true. And so here we are. All these places are open now, and the beaches have been fairly crowded, I think. If you're heading there this weekend, it's going to be a good weekend for it. Temperatures will be plenty warm. Water temperatures plenty warm. You got to watch out for the rip currents. Thankfully, it doesn't look like there'll be a lot out there as we get into the weekend, but it is moderate, so something you want to keep in mind. Rain chances, I think, on the low end, maybe on Sunday, 20% chance of rain down there at Port A and Rockport. But all in all, I think it's a great weekend if you want to check out the beaches. As we look outside with our time lapse, a lot of clouds this morning, and we start to see those clouds break up, and we're seeing quite a bit of blue sky at this hour. 84 degrees at the airport. Southerly winds at 9, dew point is at 73. Still elevated, still high, but a little bit lower than yesterday. So we're moving in the right direction. 89 degrees Pleasanton, 86 New Braunfels, 83 Canyon Lake, 87 in Comfort, 84 Tarpley. Some 90s on the map for places like Victoria, Cotulla, and Laredo. And when you factor in the humidity with dew points in the low to mid 70s, as we showed you, it feels a lot hotter. 100 in Kennedy, your current feels like temperature 100 in Victoria, 90 here in town. We should get that heat index somewhere close to 100 this afternoon. 92 is what it feels like right now in Hondo, and it feels like 89 in Del Rio. Still some clouds there, but that number will jump up this afternoon. You can see the little area of cloud cover over Del Rio and Eagle Pass. That's quickly shrinking. There are still some clouds over San Antonio on the I-35 corridor, but as you get into the Hill Country, perfectly sunny for our friends in Rock Springs, Kerrville, and Fredericksburg. Zooming out some, state of Texas is really quiet. Any active weather is down across the southeastern portion of the country. Area of low pressure there. It's not moving much, so they'll stay unsettled to our east and southeast. But we still have a ridge high pressure in place, and that's keeping things fairly toasty here in the state. 93 right now in Marfa, 95. El Paso, some of the warm spots. It's humid over most of Texas, too, so the heat index is going to be a problem statewide. As we zoom out, one place you might want to be right now, Boise. 45 degrees there at this hour. Some much cooler weather up there across Pacific Northwest. 57 in Seattle, 53 Cut Bank. But the rest of the country is dealing with quite a bit of warmth. 90 in Orlando with a lot of humidity there. Let's check in on the tropics. We've been periodically looking at the tropics the last couple days. There was a little area in the Caribbean that the Hurricane Center was watching. Not there anymore. It doesn't look like we'll see any development. And then as you get out into the Pacific, there is more thunderstorm activity and a little better chance that this could become organized. The Eastern Pacific typically gets started a little bit earlier, and it does look like we could get a few tropical systems there. Of course, they would be headed west and away from land, hopefully. And there are still some models that want to take some tropical moisture into the Gulf of Mexico maybe next week. Still much too early to say that that's a real possibility. We'll keep an eye on it at this point. Looks like things are going to remain fairly quiet. 92 degrees today. We'll see partly cloudy skies. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then the extended forecast will go 93 tomorrow, 93 on Saturday, 94 on Sunday with some rain chances, slight rain chances showing up next week as that ridge of high pressure moves out of the way, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns dominated the Nuggets last night, 123-98, taking a 2-0 series lead in that Western Conference semifinal. Paul was awesome with 17 points and 15 assists. Phoenix led by as many as 31, and they are rolling just by playing Suns basketball, says Paul.
Just our approach to the game. Mine always says, don't get happy on the farm. And I think that's, the thing for our team is just staying the course, understanding that we won game one and we did what we were supposed to do and just winning the first two games.
I saw one team that wanted to be here and play with a purpose and urgency, and one team that did not want to be here and play with no urgency. This was just an embarrassing performance all the way around from top to bottom.
Game 3 is Saturday night in Denver.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
Bucs quarterback Tom Brady is 15 weeks away from knee surgery, and he looks in top shape at mandatory minicamp. Yesterday, he revealed he started having knee problems last spring, right before his Super Bowl run that earned him his 7th ring and another Super Bowl MVP.
It was a injury I dealt with really, since last, April, May. And, I knew I would have to do something at the end of the year, and happy I did it. And it was probably, something that was it certainly needed to be done. And there's a great outcome. So I'm very happy about that. I feel I'll be able to do some different things this year than I was able to do last year.
On top of needing the surgery, Tom also wanted to fix his knee because he knows how difficult it is to repeat as Super Bowl champs. He's the last to pull that off in 2003 and 2004 with the Patriots. Jose Altuve and the Astros continue to own the Red Sox this season. Top of the third in Boston. Houston down 2-1 when Altuve turns on this pitch, sending it down the left field line and over the green monster for a solo shot, tying this at 2-2. And Houston rolls 8-2. They've won 3 straight. San Francisco at Texas, bottom of the 11, tied at 3. Brock Holt singles to the drawn-in outfield. Nate Lowe takes off from second base and slides in safely. A walk-off single for Holt. Rangers win 4-3, snapping a 3-game slide. And check out this catch by a Padres fan yesterday at Petco Park in San Diego. The foul ball bounces off the steps, and this mom reaches up with one hand to snag the ball, all while holding her baby. Mom is pumped up, as are the people around her. The kid just chilling out the entire time. Just another day at the ballpark for that kiddo. Here it is again in slow motion. She reaches up for a Gold Glove catch, beating out a handful of others, hoping for a souvenir. Look at, I just love the kid. He's just like, yeah, okay, whatever, Mom. Good job, Mom. Let it go.
That's nice
catch, Mom.
catch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. SA Live, standing by. Ooh, they're drinking up.
Already?
Oh,
Is that an adult
you know,
beverage?
when we have to follow something like that with that mom catching that ball with the baby, I mean, we got to do something, right?
Oh, nothing like a cold glass of iced tea on a hot day. It is National Iced Tea Day.
Yes. So do you prefer, you know, sweet or unsweetened?
We will talk about that in a moment. Wayne here is from W.D. Deli. Our good friend is
How
here.
are you?
Cheers,
Cheers
sir.
on National Tea Day.
They have got all sorts of great teas there, and we are making some of their wonderful chicken salad, right?
Cranberry walnut chicken salad.
Yes, and gotta top it off with the cookies. Some of the best
Always the best cookies.
Yep, we're gonna talk about that as well.
And Jen is live at Tillage. Hey there, Jen.
Hey, yes, Tillage started as a garden cottage off Broadway, and now in the heart of the city, the jungle is here. They are definitely growing with more options. I mean, look at these cactus in front of me. They're huge. So many things to see here. We're going to give you a sneak peek, a nice tour, and yeah, I may be purchasing some things before I leave here. That's for sure. Back to you guys.
We may be getting some of these things because these are the bomb here.
Yes, they are, and they're great gifts if you just want to relax, or maybe even for Father's Day.
Right, and another one of our dear friends we haven't seen in a while, Keelan Neighbors from Organically Bath and Beauty is joining us today. So we're going to learn how to make bath bombs. You can take this kid home, right? Great
Yes.
gift idea.
Go home, take it home. You can make gifts. You can have a fun craft at home with the kids, with the family. So it's really a all around just great time in a box. So we have everything you need in that box to make some wonderful bath bombs.
And you make amazing soaps as well.
Yes.
And get ready because we have to slice and dice that. We're going to see who gets the most in the fastest amount of time.
But most importantly, she has got a great way to keep the mosquitoes off. She will be our best friend.
Yes, not just repel them, you know, completely annihilate them. All that and more when SA Live continues in just a few minutes.